Extra value meals are back. That means 10 tender, juicy McNuggets and medium fries and a drink are just $8 only at McDonald's. For a limited time only, prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California for delivery.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Behind the Mic, hosted by Wise Grisette. I'm your host, Wise Grisette. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, formerly known as X, at The Real Wise. Now, one ask, same ask, every single episode. Please subscribe to Behind the Mic wherever you listen to your podcast and give us a 5-star rating. We'll really appreciate it. Now, when I say subscribe, now if you get on Spotify and it says, oh, it says follow over here, I'm not sure if it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You stop, subscribe, follow, whatever, however, y'all tap in with us. But on today's episode, I am joined by a podcaster who, quote unquote, loves to run their mouth about sports. DJ Tricey Trice, welcome to Behind the Mic.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, Wise.
Listen, and not more than me, because I've been watching all the clips that you post. Of course, you know, as the community manager of REVOLT, I'm the one that's sharing most of that content, most defined as all. And, you know, like you keep me tapped in on sports. You know, if I miss something, I know that by 3-4 o'clock my time, it's going to be a clip about something going on in sports. You holding me down. So Trish, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. So yeah, share a little bit about yourself with the audience today before we dive in.
I go by the name of DJ Tricey Trice. Like why I said I'm always running my mouth about sports. Literally. So Wise, you're not the only person that say that. I knew Tricey was gonna have something to say about this clip because that's pretty much how I run my page and how I started. So I started doing sports commentary on a $40 webcam in my kitchen, just responding to all of the sports things that I liked on the internet. Wasn't for a specific audience. I was just putting it out there, you know, cracking jokes. I grew up around, you know, my dad, my uncles. We used to talking about sports around the TV, the barbecue grills. Like literally, I was the little girl hanging out in the garage, listening to all of that. Also, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era. So basketball was a huge thing there. It wasn't my primary sport, but I was watching a lot of basketball. I'm primarily baseball for a lot of people who don't know that. Yeah. So I don't cover a lot of baseball, but I get down, Wise. I get down. But now I host the Post Up with REVOLT. Literally, I'm running my mouth about everything sports. You're going to get a little bit of the news, a little bit of what the current climate is or whatever they want trying to communicate, but you're going to get a whole lot of my opinion. And that's just what I do. I'm talking sports from the fans' perspective.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. We're going to dive more into that on this episode. But before we get into everything, let's start with some tunes. So we have a playlist on Spotify and also now on YouTube called B-Sides Track of the Week, where you can find all of our guests' favorite songs anytime. Now, B-side tracks to me are songs that aren't really as popular, but they are just as good or even better than A-side tracks. So, Trice, what B-side track you want to share with us today?
Oh, I got two, but I'm a whittle it down to one. I want to just give Cardi.
Hit me two.
Hit me two. All right, cool.
Yes.
I'm gonna start with the first one. Cardi B, Better Than You, off the new album. Like everything Cardi say, she could just breathe, just open her mouth and breathe, and I feel it. She's my Libra sister, so I'm Better Than You off that album, and then Megan Thee Stallion off a mixtape, Monday Morning Freestyle. It was like 2 years straight. That was the first song I listened to every single morning, getting it in the gym. I'm a fan of like sassy women just talking their stuff on their music. So those two for sure would be my B-sides.
That's what's up again, y'all. So you can find that on Spotify and on YouTube. Just search B-sides Track of the Week. Now, I love Cardi and I love Megan, but mixtape Megan was
nasty. Nasty. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna date myself on this one, but you remember when Remy Ma used to be battling and that Lady Luck Remy Ma freestyle battle? That I remember downloading that joint off Napster, the video, And just watching that, it took like, I don't know, probably 2 days on my E-machine back in the day when I was a kid. Watching that over and over and them punchlines. So I'm a big fan of battle rap. So every time I hear Meg spit, it's like, man, this girl she can rhyme. She got a flow. She gonna give you that energy. Cardi's a little bit different. You know, a lot of people talk about her ghostwriters and stuff. But whatever, she's a real person. I like Cardi's music because it's very relatable. It's also very inspirational in a weird way too. Because it's like, this is my circumstance. I ain't telling you to live nothing different, but I'm gonna tell you exactly what I got going. So I rock with Cardi for that.
Yeah. No, I love both the things that you just said. Completely aligned with thee. Completely aligned. When I think about Cardi's like journey from like this, you know, BS girl I used to see on IG from time to time to like where she is now, it's literally insane.
Yeah, Stevie J, he was wrong. Stevie, he probably ain't never been this wrong before. Like all of them on Love and Hip Hop who said she wasn't gonna make it. Like that is probably one of the worst takes in hip hop history, just because Cardi has really like honed her craft. She understands what it's like to be an artist. Her promotion game, even with like that Bodega Baddie. I was hoping I was in New York at the time just so I could pull up at a bodega. Like that kind of inventiveness, artistry, I think a lot of the times is not prioritized with some independent artists or, you know, just with artists who are coming out in the popular main lane. So I love to see that Cardi is still in the big lane now and she's still doing those small things. Same with Meg. She dropped a video for everything. There's not a lot of artists who are putting a lot of leg work in there. You don't really have to nowadays, but they still doing it.
Well, now we know a little bit more about you in front of the mic. Let's talk about the person behind the mic. So I have another question, but we're going to start right here.
Yep.
So you are from Chicago?
I love this question. I'm technically a hybrid. Because, you know, my mom is from Northwest Indiana, so the Gary, Indiana region, the 219, East Chicago, Indiana specifically. So I spent all my nights and weekends there, not because my mom and dad didn't live together, but because I went to school in Chicago. So I had an hour and 15 to 20-minute commute from the age of 4 years old all the way until I was 17 and went to college. Once I tell people that, they get me a little bit more. It's like, I've been getting after it since I was a kid. Like I knew that I was special. Something was going to happen. I was excited to live, to be alive, to experience different things. Like I rarely even slept because I'm like, I don't want to miss out on nothing. Like I was that kind of kid. So I got a lot of the Chicago. I act like a lady from Chicago. And that's what be getting a lot of these men confused. Like 84% of my audience is guys. And I think once they get it, they understand. Because I act like a lady from Chicago, but I got those Indiana roots, if that makes sense. So it's like all of the caps and you know what I mean? Like even women talking about sports. It's a lot of women in Chicago that they look like a whole different gamut of what a woman who follows sports would look like. One of my actual college basketball insiders, I mean, Diva, she's out here going to brunch, doing all the things, and she will hit you with some hard-hitting facts that you didn't even know about college basketball, as well as she is so well connected with different agents and different things. So, you know, my mannerisms, a lot of my behavior is Chicago, but I still got that hometown feel. I also went to Purdue in Indiana, so I got a mix of both on a daily basis.
Wow. I haven't said this all season yet, but I love Behind the Mic because you learn so much about the podcasters and creators that you work with every day, you know, and I didn't know that. So that's what's up. Thank you for sharing that. One thing I know about Gary is that Gary get Lil Buck and Michael Jackson from out there. That's all I.
Yeah. And you know, what the 219 really gets they do get Buck. Now I will say that because it's like a little baby Detroit if you think about the infrastructure of how it was built, right? Steel Mill City. Once the industrialization was done and they poisoned all the people in the water and stuff with all just terrible chemicals and stuff, these people are just left out here in these neighborhoods and you need revitalization. Gary, Indiana's getting a lot of that right now. Detroit, of course, has gotten a whole bunch of that in the past decade or so with like revitalizing their downtown and stuff like that. But people who come from where we from, we got a whole different hustle. Like, and I like to tell people that up front because you're not going to beat me. You're not going to beat me, not because I think I'm better than you, but because I understand what it's like to get after it every single day. I knew nobody was coming to get me from my circumstance. You know, my parents, they invested in private school, not because they was balling, but because I was a kid who was young and showed that I had a predisposition for, learning and being inventive. And I was a kid entrepreneur. They sent me to entrepreneurship camp. Like all of these extra things, my family risked everything for, because they knew that if they planted the seed that I would continue to take it, right? So people like us, you saw Dana Evans from the Las Vegas Aces. She just second-time champion. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked, because when you come from where we come from and you see the opportunities and avenues and you pretty much see the pipeline of where your life is going to go. I stayed in my lane my whole life. I didn't care that it was lame to be smart when I was a kid. I didn't care that it was lame to be learning different languages and going to STEM camp and trying to start businesses. And, I used to say I was one of the largest CD sales people. When I tell you CDs, DVDs, man, I was flipping them joints. Literally. And that was just my version of starting business and stuff. And my mom was smart and wise enough to be like, yo, this is getting to a level now where you're making hundreds of dollars a day. This is federally illegal. And I'm like, I see the warning, but she's like, nah, let's think of some other things that you could do. Let's think of some other ways that you could use this energy. So that's why I see the pitfalls. A lot of people have some ideas of what inner city youth, is doing, and all the things that kids in Chicago. I went to school on the west side of Chicago. I done seen some rowdy stuff over there too. So I got the Gary, I got the west side of Chicago, right? But it's only because that energy is not focused. I could have took this every way. You know what I mean? I could have over-invested and become obsessed and all of these things, over-ambitious in so many different ways. But I was lucky enough to have parents and then a support system that they, paid or arranged for me to be put in, where everybody believed that I could do everything. So it allowed me to never feel lack, and to also know that if I just practice, I could be good. I could be good. That's where people get it messed up at. And that's why I say you're not going to beat me, because one, I'm going to get good. I'm good a lot of the times off the top because I care a lot and I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm going to apply myself. But in those moments where people sleep and people choose to do other stuff and invest their time, I'm going to beat you in those moments. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to let up. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to level up. And you're going to be like, man, when does this girl sleep? I sleep when I make time to sleep. But I know that if I want something, it's no person, place, or thing that can stop me from getting that. And that comes from my root.
Yeah. No, that's real. And that, having that drive is something that cannot be taught. You either have it or you don't. So
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad I led with that one. This next one here, I'm going to send you back again, back in the day. I know you mentioned Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls. So I want you to think back to that first sporting event that you ever went to. It don't got to be NBA or none of that stuff, but what was the first sporting event that you went to that you can remember? Think about the team, think about the crowd ambiance, who were you with, and really and truly, how did it make you feel?
Man, that is such a good question. And I think it's a baseball game. I grew up a Cubs fan, Chicago Cubs. My granddaddy was a Cubs fan. My dad was a Cubs fan. And I grew up listening to Harry Carey on WGN in the morning, on the game day mornings and literally listen to baseball on the radio. I still do, because it's just that sports fan. So Wrigley Field, and there's no feeling like it. And I understand, my family grew up on the South Side, but we don't support the White Sox. And I hate to say that, because it's that is the South Side team. You know what I mean? They in the hood. You want to support your people there, but it's it was not our team. It was clearly not our team. And honestly, the Sox were winning when I was a child. This is back when they were winning championships, and we were still in the drought, and I was still a Cubs fan. But I truly feel getting off that train at Addison in Chicago and seeing the ivy all over the train station and the ivy all in the stands and everything. It's you feel like you're a part of something that's so much bigger. And I noticed at a very, very young age that I was going to want to go to the games, be at the games, because TV, I'm not really too attached to TV, and I'll tell you that story right after I'm done with this. But there's something about being present in those big moments, actually being there. This is on TV, but it's happening today. versus like post-production and stuff. So that was the game. I don't know how old I was, but I'm gonna send you a picture while you can clip it in here if you want to. But my T-ball team, I cried when I didn't get drafted. I think I got drafted by the Marlins or something stupid in T-ball. And I was like, I want to be on the Cubs. And I cried and they switched it over.
Oh,
so
wow.
I got my little proud picture of me of my Cubs gear back in the day. But segueing into that thing that ruined TV for me. When I was a kid, I had to be like 4 or 5. I took our family VCR apart because I was trying to figure out how it worked. So I don't know where my parents was and why they weren't watching me, but I got a screwdriver. And when I tell you I took that joint apart, every screw was taken apart. And my mama was so mad because VCRs back then was pretty expensive. But I just remember looking in a little window and seeing the thing come up. I'm like, I got to see how this works. Anyway, I took the VCR apart. So my dad was like watching TV with me now because I was in there messing with the VCR and stuff. So it was one day I was watching Power Rangers. Power Rangers was one of my favorite things. I had the little Mighty Morphin thing. Like, come on, let's do it. So I was watching this show and I'm doing the moves in the living room. And then a commercial came on that was saying that the Power Rangers was going to be at the mall, like coming in my area. So I'm like, Dad, take me to see the Power Rangers in the mall. And he was like, what? And my dad is a guy from Chicago. So if you got a dad from Chicago, you'll understand. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, the Power Rangers, Daddy. Did you see the commercial? They coming to, they coming to our city. He said, the Power Rangers ain't real. And I said, what? And he said, let's watch the show. So we started watching the show and he paused it when they was talking and he was like, you see how they mouth not moving to the words? And I was like, what? Like my mind is literally breaking. I'm like 4 or 5 years old, young, inquisitive. He's like, that's dubbing. This ain't even in English. So these people that you're going to see at the mall ain't the right people. And I tell a lot of people that story and they be like, dang, your daddy ruined TV for you. But he didn't. What he did was he completely revolutionized my mind because I'm thinking, okay, cool. If this is on TV, then I can put something on TV. He looked at me and he said, everything that you see on TV is for entertainment purposes only. I don't want you to ever look at the TV and think any of that could be real because the TV is here for entertainment purposes only. So now I'm a little girl in the mindset of, okay, I can do stuff on TV. So then I started entertaining, like, what would I put on TV? If I was on TV, what would I do on TV? So like, in that same moment of like having that third wall being broken by my dad and why I really don't watch TV, I stopped doing that and started doing more live stuff. And I would just sit in my room and listen to music and make music because I was turned off by TV at an early age. So people be sitting binge watching Netflix and sorry, not sorry, it's a waste of my time. It's because I'm a creator. That thing has been switched in me. Whereas a lot of people get to watch horror movies and stuff when they're a kid and they're like, I was so scared. And I remember how this made me feel. Like, I can't be emotional about TV, y'all. I'm not going to watch it and be like there's things that could touch me and I could cry, but it's like, come on, y'all. It's TV.
And it's crazy. Like, I didn't find this out until I was, probably like 2 years ago, that all the fight scenes literally were not even the same actors. It literally was a whole different TV show in Asia. And they just put like these like American actors to do the other parts. I was like, wow, like I never realized that 30 years later.
Yeah, but it was good. It was fun. I realized how big it could get when people are a fan or when I'm a fan. You know what I mean? You can commit, you can have fun, but it's for entertainment purposes only. And I think that people in our generation right now, are not really aware of that because the internet is also entertaining them. So you got to just remember sometimes when you're watching a piece of media that it was made to entertain you. It was made to make you feel some kind of way. So interact with that how you will. Take what you need, leave what you don't.
Mm-hmm. So, Trice, speaking about entertainment, then, what are some things that entertain you?
Oh, man. Hoops, man. Ball is life. Live sports is still the number one entertainer of me. Even though I'm running my mouth talking about it, it is very quickly in the last 2 years become pretty much everything in my life. I'm podcasting about it. I'm watching it. There's so many different things, but I'll never not be so entertained at a game winner in an arena. I'm gonna lose my voice every time. Like there's no better feeling, you know what I mean, than that, than the whole. I was just watching the World Series. Ain't watched the baseball game all year. The Dodgers was in the World Series. LA was on fire. Yo, extra innings, most World Series don't even go to extra innings. So that
extra
feeling
in game 7.
Like that is some entertaining stuff. So that, but then too, like again, I was a kid entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was 12 years old. I went to a entrepreneurship camp that my parents sent me to for the summer, which was like crazy because I had to ask them to go away from home, and they wasn't really into that. You know, you can understand what a black man from Chicago and the black woman from Gary, Indiana would be like, nah, you ain't going nowhere. But I talked to him and I'm like, yo, I need to do this. I got to spread my wings. I got to get up out of here. I need to be involved in some other stuff. Also, they was giving away a stipend, like a $500 stipend. So starting businesses is like my whole purpose in life. Like I know I'm going to be a serial entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur right now. There's this feeling that I get with taking apart businesses and putting them back together, also investing in businesses and thinking about different ways. Marcus Lemonis and Damon John are like two mentors that I really want. Just because they get it. They know what it's like. I feel like I listen to them talk and they get to experiments in all these different worlds, and some make money, some don't, you know, like, so I enjoy the risk of all of that. A lot of people like gambling and that, but I like starting businesses from zero and seeing how high this could get. The fact that I'm even talking to you and I started on a $40 Logitech webcam is wild, bro. Like, there's nothing better than this. Like, this is the most fun game we could ever play. So, like, I'm entertained by all of that. And I know that's in the field kind of stuff, but I got a lot of energy. I was a hyper kid. So I'm moving and moving and moving. And those things best serve me.
Okay, so one final question before we go to our break. We just finished baseball season. You know, we're going into basketball season. So many different sporting activities are going on at the same time. How do you choose what to talk about on the episodes?
I'm kind of crazy. I do a lot of multi-view, but I'm also so gossipy. Like, honestly, I want to talk about the gossip. I'm at the point where sport meets social. And I think that people are really conditioned to watching Sports Center and listen to a bunch of people talk around the table and debate about sports. And while that is beneficial, you're going to get that same product in 5 different channels on 5 different distribution platforms. Whether it's white people, black people, men, women, like we got all of those shows. For me, like I really want to pride myself on being like that visceral reaction. You know, like if you were sitting and talking to your homies about it, like I truly think that people who listen to my show and listen to my content be like, she was saying exactly what I was thinking, but I wasn't going to say it. Cause you know, a lot of times people be on TV. I'm cool with being banished to the basement of the internet. I will live in the basement. I will be here just running my mouth about sports. And the people who want to come, you could come into the basement with me. You could go on a little break. You know, you have your little dope beverages. Do whatever you want to. But I want my vibe to be like party, kick back, watch a game. You know, remember we used to have fights and it was on pay-per-view and only like 1 or 2 of your family members had cable and stuff like that. So you would go over there, everybody pack their house out, bring a plate, bring a couple dishes, and we just watch the fight. Like, that's my vibe every day. Come bring your plate, eat your plate at your house, but we're going to talk about whatever the topic was in the social way, because you know he did this, and what about this, and what a girl, that is very much my vibe, and I feel like it's okay to accept that into sports, because sometimes men don't want to like to feel like they're emotional, and you emotional because you mad at this sport, or men with sports is them the most emotional people. And I love that they can be vulnerable in that way. And I feel like that's a great meeting place of like where I interact with. A lot of my homeboys are like Eagles fans to a core. They trying to convert me. It's like, bro, I done told you multiple times I'm a Raiders fan. You can stop it. I got a jersey for you over here, sis. Like, I love that camaraderie and that community that's built. So that's definitely where I like to be in the pocket at.
Mm-hmm. Okay. On the other side of this break, we're kicking it into overdrive with a rapid fire game of this or this right after this.
Extra value meals are back For just $5, get a savory and sweet sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles plus hash browns and a coffee. Only at McDonald's. For a limited time only, prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California and for delivery.
And we're back, y'all. Thanks for sticking around. Like I said before, we're about to jump into a quick game, a rapid fire game of this or that. Tricey, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Cool. All right. So we are starting in 3, 2, 1. Lakers or Bulls?
Lakers.
Okay. You need one bucket. Paige or Rakia?
Rakia, never bet against the squad.
Post-game interviews or sideline in-game interviews?
Post interviews. That sideline is loud, y'all. It's real hard.
Okay. WNBA or Unrivaled?
I would have to say WNBA only because all my OGs there, but I love Unrivaled.
Sparks or Stallion?
Sparks. Come on, man.
Basketball or football?
Basketball.
Okay, we're done. We're done.
All right, cool.
I should have said basketball or baseball, but I didn't know beforehand.
Yeah, man. It's crazy because, like, I still go to the batting cages. Like,
oh wow,
I'm nice. Like, I was a girl that went all the way up until they kicked you out. When I got to high school, I was like, I gotta play softball. I don't even know how to play the sport. I tried out. I was on varsity. That was my sport that I was gonna get recruited for in college was actually softball because I was a pitcher. I never pitched. I was a shortstop in baseball. I got to softball. My coach taught me Phoebe rules. Shouts out to Coach Phoebe. She taught me she was like, oh, you got an arm. Taught me how to do the little rotation. Man, I used to be striking them girls out. They would hit the ball. I would slide and catch a fair ball. Man, I was so sassy, especially in my softball game because I was used to playing with guys and like almost striking out for real, like basically just happy to get on base. And I was literally in the park home runs. I hit that joint so far, had them girls go running for that ball. I around the bases, be talking smack. Like that's my sport.
Yeah, I gotta pull up the footages and throw it in the episode.
I wish the internet was around. I already checked to see if my basketball stats is still up on Max Preps. I was nice in basketball too. I was averaging actually more rebounds than points, which is crazy. But I was this size in high school, so that kind of makes sense. I was more of a 4. But now that I'm grown, I be playing against grown women, and it's like, dang, I'm a point guard because they big and I don't got no guard skills, but I be hooping every morning. So if you catch me outside, I got you.
Hey, okay. So before we end this episode, what's the one thing that you want people to know about you that they wouldn't get from listening to the podcast?
Man. I'll start with this. I'll give you a little bit of self-awareness as my thing that I want people to know about me. I think people think that I only care about myself, and that's true, but in the most positive way. Like I have the awareness that other people are around. I create space for people to be their individual selves. But I expect to show up authentically as myself and be given that same amount of leeway of being yourself. Right. So it's like, I'm completely in my lane. So if there's ever a person out there who's like, oh, she's doing this to spite me, like I don't even think about other people. I'm so committed to my purpose. I'm having the time of my life. Everyday wise, my best days are always ahead of me. So, sometimes I think people can get that and be like, oh, well, she's just obsessed with her show and her little businesses and all of this stuff. But it's like, tell me about yours. Tell me, I'm everything that I do is I'm showing you that I can do it because you cut from the same cloth. I want you to be just as encouraged about yourself as I am about myself. I think I'm the best. You should think the same. I think that I'll always rate myself as a 10. You should do the same. I'm going to always challenge myself to be better. You should challenge yourself to do the same. So it's like in the same breath that if people are giving me these judgmental things, oh, you seem confrontational. It's like, I'm not confrontational. I like to talk about things that are going so we can get over it and move forward and be joyful and all of those things. So everything is literally out of love for me, out of love of myself, out of love of creativity, the sports that I cover, the people around me. Like it's all such a beautiful system. And I think if everyone pointed inwardly and really like vibe with themselves like that, we will have so many fun people out in the world to play with. We all just kids. I'm an outside kid. You know what I mean? I'm in the street. Some kids like to play in the house. I like to get outside. So that's really the only thing. So if you ever meet me, I know I'm going up now. and you like, damn, that girl was just talking about herself. It's because I'm excited about what I got going on. It's not because I don't hear. That's it.
Man, that's a word. That's some word. Those some words, right? Those some words, because I feel like a lot of people are not self-absorbed enough and spend too much time like trying to point the fingers at people that are actually doing the work.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And Tricey, again, man, thank you for coming on to Behind the Mic. Before we leave, please let the audience know where you can find you on social media.
You can find me at DJ Tricey Trice on every single platform. Just type that in. That's at DJ TRICEY.
Okay, and thank you again, audience, for listening to this episode of Behind the Mic, hosted by Wise Gazette. I'm y'all host, Wise Gazette. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, formerly known as X, at The Real Wise. That's WINZE. I'm internationally known on the microphone as Wiz, Wizzy, and Wise, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Behind the Mic, hosted by Wise Gazette, is powered by Offscript Podcast Network. Special thanks to the Indie Creative Network and Storytime Studios for editing and producing this podcast.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here, wishing you a very happy half-off holiday, because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.